Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I am going to be talking about John Harper's Blades in the Dark. It's a brand new tabletop role-playing game. It just recently came out this month, and specifically what he has done with crew types, okay? So basically, a better way to understand this is within Blades in the Dark, this tabletop role-playing game that John Harper has created, and Blades in the Dark is created by 1-7 and also Evil Hat Games, which means it's connected to Fred Hicks, the guy who does Fate. And I've been looking forward to this game for a long time. Well over a year since John Harper announced it and has bring it forward. And the reason why is I'm just a huge fanboy on John Harper's specific role-playing game design, and I was excited because I thought this game, I thought this game would change the industry, and I absolutely think especially now that I'm looking at the book, this book will absolutely change the tabletop role-playing game industry. So what John Harper has created is he created crew types. So Blades in the Dark is a steampunk. It's a Victorian steampunk crime game. Okay. And so you play a character, you play like a hound or a cutter, you play like a specific criminal type, right? But then and there's occultists, there's a strong supernatural element within the game. But then your other player characters, you're all together in a crew. And this crew has a crew type, okay? Now the crew types are assassin, bravos, cult, you can be a cult, right? Hawkers and shadows. And these all have their own distinct flavors, and they all do different things. Like the shadows are smugglers, right? Perfect example. And the bravos are like flashy fighter types, right? That kind of thing. And there's like an espionage type and things like that, right? And it's really it's pretty amazing. Like, so these crew types are huge. Like, it's something that I have never seen it done in any tabletop role-playing game before. And certainly, if the idea has been broached in another tabletop role-playing game, it hasn't been done to this level, right? So each one of the crew types, in addition to having a type for your adventuring party, that's what it is. Right? They call it a crew in this game, but it's really an adventuring party. So think about if your Dungeons and Dragons game, if your war band or your adventuring group, or your crew within a Dungeons and Dragons, what if there was a type for your adventuring group that's never been touched? Dungeons and Dragons has been around for 40 years, and there's never been any mechanics for how your adventuring party differs from another adventuring party. And like, once you see the detail that John Harper has put into this, you're like, why? Why has no one done this, right? So not only do you have each one of these crew types, but each crew type has attributes for the crew, right? So it has like upgrades, right? Contacts that are specific to that crew, right? Not a contact that is connected to one of your player characters, but a contact that is connected to the crew, to the adventuring group, the adventuring party, right? That's huge. That's absolutely new, right? And it's certainly been executed at a level I've never seen anything like it, right? They each have claims, like things that they have access to, right, in the world. They have crew special abilities. So, of course, your character has special abilities. That's nothing new in a tabletop role-playing game. But your crew has special abilities, right? In addition to that, there are opportunities that are specific to your crew, and every crew has this, right? And then you also have these hunting grounds, which is essentially territories that belong to your crew, and you're constantly scrapping with other crews to get more territory, right? And once you see this, you realize that the adventuring type, it's like a completely new character sheet that's shared by all the player characters, and your eyes just open wide. You're like, oh my gosh, we've been playing tabletop role-playing games wrong for 40 years, right? Like, because once you understand the crew type, right, that means that there's a character sheet that every single player character is working to make better. Every player character now has a naturally shared goal, right, that has mechanics around it. And there are rules mechanics that are bound into this that encourage great play and collaboration and finding enemies outside of your own adventuring party and finding enemies outside of your own player character, right? Because I think that's one of the reasons why I think most game masters today, they're struggling to get their player characters not to fight amongst themselves, or not to fight even within their own mind and their own, like a perfect example is the Paladin Warlock. Like it's a very popular build in Dungeons and Dragons right now that is like within itself. It's like two classes fighting against each other, right? So this builds into it rules mechanics to move your players into a shared goal right from the gate and reward them constantly for working together, right? And it's absolutely brilliant. Like, once you see it, you're like, holy cows, why haven't we been doing this? It's crazy, right? And like, it not only is it really good in Harper's game, but once you've seen it, you're like, why doesn't every game have this? This should be like an equipment guide. Every role-playing game has an equipment guide. The idea that every role-playing game to this point hasn't had a crew type or an adventure type and you'd never had mechanics for that before is bonkers, right? Now, I do think that there have been games that have approached this idea and have dabbled with it in the past. I think Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the one that came in a big box with lots of fiddly bits that was put out by FFG, it had a shared sheet that was at the party level, right? But nothing to the level that Harper has done. Harper really has really raised the stakes here, and it's so well done, and so effortlessly knits all of the player characters together that I think it's going to be unlikely to not see this in major tabletop role-playing games going forward. All the big dogs like Wizards of the Coast, FFG, Paizo, AEG, everybody, Cobbled Press, Green Ronin, all of those houses are going to have to look at, do we leave adventure party type out, right? It's a new level of play that Harper has like blazed the trail for, right? And it is amazingly awesome. Like, it's just really, really good rules design, and it's so strong and so significant that once you see it, you're like, why haven't we been doing this? So I really think Blades in the Dark is a very, very important tabletop role-playing game that is going to change the industry and change the way all games get built going forward at the production house level. There's still going to be some guys who are making like these heartbreaker clones of whatever game they don't like because they don't like the bow and arrow rules. Those will remain the same, but generally at the production house level, this is, I think what Harper has done with Blades in the Dark is like the transition from black and white film to color film in movies. It's absolutely huge, and that's not the only major change he's built in here, but it's definitely the one that is spinning in my head today. If you haven't bought Blades in the Dark, buy Blades in the Dark immediately. It is absolutely amazing. I'm starting to regret only buying the PDF. Really need to get my hands on I have to decide what hardback version I want, but it's really, really stunning. Definitely check out Blades in the Dark and get ready to be seeing adventure types in your future tabletop role-playing games. Take care.